Hi everyone, Flossany Boss Tano here, the internet's busiest music nerd, and it's time for a review of the new Lil Uzi Vert project, Lil Uzi Vert vs. the World 2. Philly rapper Lil Uzi Vert, he's back once again with a deluxe version of the record he has just dropped. Eternal Take just put that out last week. His first record in years, finally quenching the thirst of fans who feared that the industry killed any chance of Eternal Take seeing the light of day. So the album came, and while there was a lot of fanfare, I'm personally not sure if it was really worth the wait. While EA does have some forward-thinking production and at least a nod to some semblance of a concept, it also sounds like Uzi hasn't spent any of the past 3 years progressing his sound or his style in any way, shape, or form. It's like the dude's been locked in a time capsule since 2017 and they just broke him out for this record. Meanwhile, Uzi's contemporaries have spent that same amount of time progressing, pushing the envelope, staying ahead of the curve that he is now behind. And I guess to add to the numbers and the hype on this release, Uzi has now put out a deluxe version, but this is not your standard reissue of an album with a few extra bonus tracks, no. What Uzi has done here is stacked an entirely different project on top of his already existing project. Essentially the sequel to his 2016 mixtape that was inspired by the Scott Pilgrim franchise. Now, even though I was underwhelmed by a good deal of Eternal Take, I do have to give it to Uzi. These do sound like two very separate projects with their own qualities and personalities. If doing a general side-by-side comparison, I would say that Versus the World 2 has punchier beats, crisper mixes, way more features. Some of the choruses pop a bit more too, as the songs they're packed into are more cleanly structured. And I suppose with no space-inspired aesthetics dominating the entire record like on EA, Uzi is a bit freer to sample different sounds and styles. Although much of the time the beats he grabs are pretty typical for modern trap or, just a lot of Pierre Bourne production, which is pretty trendy right now. So those are some of the most obvious differences between these two projects. With that being said though, it's not like Uzi has turned a new leaf on this thing either. His pen game and his delivery, his flows are pretty much what you can expect at this point. Think of how it would sound if Lil Wayne was born a SoundCloud rapper but had no concept of one-liners or wordplay. Now, Uzi does hit upon some very good vocal lines on this record here and there, like on Moon Relate, where the vocal inflections are insane. Also, the refrains on Come This Way are pretty sticky as well. And while I like what the more prominent placement in the mix that Uzi's voice receives does for his singing when it is good, by that same token, hearing his voice in a clearer state does expose how obnoxious it is on certain tracks, like on Lotus, where the singing is just straight trash. And also what happens at this volume is it becomes very apparent just how off-tempo and rambly a lot of Uzi's rapping is too, and not in a weird left field or even endearing Blueface type of way either. But Uzi's flows on the second half of I Can Show You, very much a mess. Also his verse on Strawberry Peels, where he barely takes up that much room on his own track and is totally outshined by Young Thug. That's the other thing. It's kind of weird just how much Uzi allows his guests on this project to completely overtake his songs or just turn him into the least interesting thing on his own song, like 21 Savage on YESSIRSKIII, who is pretty much all over 2/3 of that track. This is also the same situation with the closer, Leaders, which not only features an instrumental that reads a lot like the stage music to a Mario Kart level, which I love, but it also features an appearance from Nav. Yes, this Nav over here. This Nav. And believe it or not, it's his best feature ever. Literally. Sure, he still sounds pretty robotic, but it works within the context of this very synthetic and dreamy instrumental. The vocal melody goes a long way too. We also have a great and very insanely aggressive Lil Durk feature on here that stops the show. Young Thug's appearances go the extra mile, and even Chief Keef in his own weird way is the most interesting thing on Bean. So again, a vast majority of the features on this thing do make the songs to the point where they would not be worth releasing if they were not there. In the same way that the production did so much of the legwork on EA, Yeah, the guest appearances from 21 Savage and Young Thug and Future, they're pretty much doing the same thing, which is why tracks like Myron and I Can Show You rank as some of the most drab songs in this track list. So those are my general thoughts on these deluxe tracks. I'm not sure what I need to say beyond here. If maybe you want me to dissect every single reference Uzi makes to getting head, we could do that, but that would make this the most tedious YouTube video ever. Because again, while it is a slight improvement over EA, it's not like Uzi is putting a whole lot of structural or lyrical focus into these tracks. So at the end of the day, while there are elements of Versus the World 2 that I like, it's like it is swapping out various qualities with EA. One project has flaws, the other one doesn't. Both have fundamental issues that carry through both. One has a louder and clearer sound with lots of enjoyable features, while the other has more interesting production and, I guess, more aesthetic cohesion. But I'm still not all that crazy about either, honestly. I'm feeling a light 5 on this one. Transition. Have you given this deluxe edition a listen? If you did you love it? Did you hate it? Why? What do you think I should review next? Over here next to my head is another video that you can check out. Hit that up or the link to subscribe to the channel. You're the best. You're the best. Hope you have a good day. Staying inside, not getting sick, not getting other people sick. Take care of yourself and each other. Anthony Fantano, Lil Uzi Vert, forever.